Will everyone please join me in Gasho as I read the words of our founder, Master Shinran Shonin. Shakyamuni Tathagata appeared in this world solely to teach the ocean-like primal vow of Amida. We, an ocean of beings in an evil age of 5 defilements, should entrust ourselves to the Tathagata's words of truth. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandats, namandats, namandats. Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to our annual Hoonko service. This is a wondrous and one joyful occasion where we commemorate and celebrate the life and mark the passing of Master Shinran Shonin, who in our tradition of Nishi Honganji's Jodo Shinchu Honganji-ha passed away January 16th of 1263. So we do this because we are very much indebted to Master Shinran for sharing these teachings with us. But of course, we can't forget the original source of these teachings, which is Shakyamuni Buddha. The quote that I read from today comes from Master Shinran's Shoshi Nembutsuge, which is what we chanted this morning or a little bit earlier, in which, once again, he makes the declaration that Shakyamuni Buddha appeared in this world to teach us to give us the real teaching of Namo Amida Butsu. Now, once again, this isn't to disparage other schools of Buddhism, like Zen or Vajrayana, like the school of the Dalai Lama or Thich Nhat Hanh. They are all wonderful teachers, and they have beautiful lessons and wonderful books and sagely advice and wisdom for all of us. And then, of course, this isn't to disparage other practices either. There are beautiful Buddhist practices that, many people are able to engage with. But I think one of the main reasons why Jodo Shinshu is appreciated so much is because of the easiness of the practice. It is just saying Namo Amida Butsu. I recall a Dharma talk that was given by Tetsuo Uno, who is I think he was fully retired now. He was a minister formerly of the Pasadena Buddhist Temple down in Southern California. And he was giving a Dharma talk that asked, why is Nembutsu or saying Namo Amida Butsu or Jodo Shinshu teachings, like really, really preferred besides other ones, right? And of course, Tetsuo Uno himself also said that, he thinks that Zen is a beautiful school of Buddhism, right? But he actually said something that really stuck with me, and it still sticks with me to this day. And he says, here's why I think Jodo Shinshu is way more deeper than the deepest of the Jodo Shinshu, or the deepest of the Buddhist teachings. Zen can deal with how to become enlightened, the path to enlightenment, in a sense, in this life, per se. And, what do you do when you are enlightened? And he says the reason why Jodo Shinshu is deeper is because it's the teachings that tell us what to do if we can't become enlightened in this life. What if I can't do it by myself? What if I can't do it on my own? And so the vast majority of us, 99.9% of the population, are not able to do the hard and austere practices that are required to attain enlightenment in this life. Let's think about Master Shinran for a second. Shinran Shonin himself was ordained at 9 years old, only 9 years old. So we are Nishi Honganji, and Higashi Honganji, our sister temple, who is also in Kyoto. You are actually able to be ordained as a priest as early as 9 years of age. Nishi Honganji is a little bit stricter, so it's like the earliest you can do it is 16 years old. But Higashi Honganji, you can do it at 9 years old. But that's because in Higashi Honganji, getting ordained, Tokudo, only takes 3 days. In Nishi Honganji, it takes 11 days to actually get your full ordination. Okay, so when thinking about this, though, going back to Master Shinran, he was only 9 years old when he was ordained, and he went up to Mount Hiei to train in those austere and hard practices of Buddhism, right? Of Tendai Buddhism. And let me tell you something. Let me be clear with all of you. Tendai Buddhism is no joke. Tendai Buddhism is extremely difficult. There are so many things you have to memorize, so many practices you have to do, and there are, and sometimes people don't even make it to certain levels, right? They pass away because some of the training is so difficult on their bodies. Shinran Shonin was actually able to complete all of these practices. One of these practices is called the Jogyo Zammai, which is circumambulating around an Amida statue, like this one, for 90 days without really stopping. You can rest. You're not supposed to fall asleep. There are actually like wooden bars that you can see in the hall that the monks are allowed to like kind of lean on to get some rest. But essentially, you're not allowed to stop. You're not allowed to really go to sleep either. So, Master Shinran completed these austere practices. And one of the most amazing things was his honesty after completing all of these things. He was 29 years old when he had an honest conversation with himself and said, I've done all of these hard practices, I've done all of this hard work, I've memorized all these texts, and I'm no closer to enlightenment than when I started. If anything, he may have even contemplated because of all these accomplishments, he's further away from it. He did not feel satisfied with the teachings or with the austere practices that he was required to do. So he left the mountain, and then he found his teacher, Master Honen Shonin. And through Master Honen had a very simple message for him. Just take refuge in the Nembutsu. Just say the Nembutsu. That's it. That's all you need. Shinran Shonin himself was actually sort of a revolutionary in that he publicly took a wife. He was publicly married. You're technically not supposed to do that. And in Japan, the monks never really, I should say, adhered to the celibacy part of monkhood. Like there's stories about them having secret families on the mountain and everything. But Shinran Shonin himself actually openly declared that he was getting married to Eshini. And that was actually one of the reasons to banish him from the capital. Really, it was about political power. But that being said, Shinran's message to the people was simple. And this is why it gained such a following. Shinran Shonin taught what Honen taught, and that was just say the Nembutsu. Shinran confided in Honen Shonin and said, I can't really get this woman out of my head. Or, I have these feelings of attraction to this woman, but I'm supposed to be a monk. And Honen Shonin looked at Shinran and he said, if marrying this woman or being with this woman will get you to say Namo Amida Butsu, then marry her. If she's going to hinder that, then don't. Right? Because all need is the Nembutsu. And this is because of many lifetime. That's another story in a sense. But the short version of it is that so much Buddhist practice is put in this one phrase of Namo Amida Butsu. It almost seems deceptively simple. But when you think about just how popular and just how moving this Jodo Shinshu movement was in Japan, and as many followers as they gained, and the fact that followers of Nembutsu are still one of the most popular schools of Buddhism in Japan, it can't be ignored that this teaching was very significant to a lot of people. And again, this is because of the easy access to this teaching. When you come into a temple sometimes, and I think as human beings, all of us are sort of hardwired to kind of create this system where we work to earn what we have, right? Or work in order to gain something. And that's not necessarily bad, right? I'm not saying that we should, enter the workforce and always start at the top, right? And we should be able to just receive money without working for it. But at the same time, when it comes to the spiritual side of our lives, this is a teaching that teaches us that this benefit of wisdom and compassion is given to us freely. And for a lot of us who are very, all of us, I should say, who are all very ego driven, right? And I'm not saying that in a pejorative way, I'm saying it in a factual way, right? It's hard for us to fathom that sometimes, right? You know that saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch, or there's no such thing as free money, right? There's always something attached to that, right? It's like, so you go on those vacations, right? And people say, hi, can we invite you for a free lunch? Oh, sure. Oh, wait, I'm sitting down and they're trying to sell me condos, right? It always seems to come with a catch. Here at the Jodo Shinchu Temple and at Tacoma Buddhist Temple, right? Of course, we're going to, we appreciate donations that are given, money that's given, right? Because, we do need capital in order to keep the lights on or make renovations or improvements in the temple. But guess what? There will never be a teaching where I say to you, okay, if you donate this amount of money, your Nembutsu is that much stronger, right? If you donate this amount of money, you're actually this much closer to the Pure Land. That's a heresy, or that is a total incorrect view of this religion, right? And maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why, and maybe I'm just going to go on a whim and say it, maybe that's why these tech billionaires like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos or these other really corporate billionaires are not Jodo Shinchu Buddhists. They realize that they can't buy their way into enlightenment. Right? Sadly, there are some schools of Buddhism that kind of encourage that and sort of perpetuate that ideology. But in this particular school, all we do is say Jutsu. That's all that's required. You're not going to be charged an entry to come through the temple doors to sit on Sunday service. All you need to do is sit down and listen to the teachings of the Buddha and recite Namo Amida Butsu. That's it. That is all that's required. And there's nothing more that's required. So this is why I think Nembutsu dojos became so popular during Shinran Shonin's time, is because he provided a source of hope for all of the people of Japan. Many of them who were peasants, who were merchants, who were even considered part of the outcasts of society, people who were not seen as human sometimes because of the professions that they did, like animal skins and sewage collecting, all of those things, right? Considered to be dirty. Shinran Shonin taught these people too, because he said, Amida Buddha is accepting to all sentient beings. All you need to do is say Namo Amida Butsu. And it's actually, and what's even going deeper in this teaching is that we should not even see Namo Amida Butsu as this ticket, right? Oh, if I say Namo Amida Butsu, I get this. If I do this, then I get this, right? It's not even that. The Nembutsu goes way deeper than that. The Nembutsu truly is an expression of gratitude and of acknowledgement of Amida Buddha's existence and the wisdom and compassion that comes to us. Saying Namo Amida Butsu reflects this wisdom and compassion. So it's not that I say this and then I get this benefit. It's I get this benefit, and because I get this benefit, I say Namo Amida Butsu. That's what that is. So in truth, this teaching teaches a very simple teaching, which is just say the Nembutsu, right? Just engage with the Nembutsu. That's all that is required. We as humans sometimes want to overcomplicate things, and we want to, make things more dynamic or way more way more fancy in order to feel acknowledged, in order to feel accomplished, in order to feel bigger, right? We want to do all these things in order to feel more successful, right? When someone gives us something without working for it necessarily, one of the first things we do as a human in calculation is, what's the catch, right? But guess what? In Jodo Shinshu, there's no catch. There's no fine print necessarily. So with this in mind, I want us all to deeply reflect on the teachings of Shinran Shonin and kind of understand Why do we go and commemorate him so much in the school of Buddhism? Why is he so sought after? Why is he honored as much as he is? It's because of the Nembutsu teaching and the easy access that he provided for all sentient beings in Japan. And if you don't think that the past or Shinran Shonin's time is relevant now, I hear a lot of rhetoric in today's world or in even the BCA now where we have to make things more relevant, we have to keep things modern, and we have to do, right? I agree with some of that, but when you think about it, this teaching of Nembutsu has stretched far beyond the confines of the countries of Japan and has landed in the United States, Canada, South America, Hawaii, even in Europe, and then other parts of Asia as well. Right? If it weren't relevant today, the teaching itself, without all the glitz and the glamour, if it were not relevant today, believe me, it would not have survived or it would not have made it out of Japan. This is why, once again, we are so grateful to Shinran Shonin for this teaching and for the Nembutsu practice. Please join me in Gassho. Shakyamuni Tathagata appeared in this world solely to teach the ocean-like primal vow of Amida. We, in an evil age of 5 defilements, should entrust ourselves to the Tathagata's words of truth. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Nam Mandap, Nam Mandap, Nam.